Good evening. Welcome to Simple Life Philosophy. I'm going to talk about your reasons for doing something and why they make the difference in the effort that you'll put into whatever it is you're doing. Reasons make the difference. If you have big reasons, if you have strong reasons to do something, then you will work much harder at it. You'll give it a lot more effort. If you just have weak reasons, then you will not put very much effort into what you're doing, and the results will show that. Because we get in what we put out, we get back what we put out into life. And so if we just put a little bit and we just give a little bit of effort, we're only going to get a little bit back in return. So it really matters the amount of effort that you put into things. And the effort that we put into things is often derived from the amount of reasons and the strength of reasons that we have behind whatever it is we're doing. If you're doing something for survival, you'll get it done. You'll figure it out. If you're doing something just to have a little bit of, just a little bit more fun in your life or something, you're not going to put that much effort into it. It's not going to be nearly as strong. So the reasons that we associate to something that we're doing and something that we're trying to get done in our life will give us a large amount of motivation and a big push of effort into whatever it is that we're trying to do. And I'll give you an example here. Recently, one year recently, I needed to make more money. I wasn't making enough money, and I desperately needed to make more money in order to catch up with some bills and that kind of thing in my life and keep myself from going underwater. And at first I found myself pretty disheartened by that, and it was beating me up pretty bad. And I kind of shrank down at first. But after a while, I began to associate the reason of survival. It was do or die. I had to do it with expanding myself professionally and expanding my resume and expanding my contacts professionally in order to increase my resourcefulness and bring more resources to me. And I was able to, in that year, because of that, the reason of survival, it was do or die, because I had a serious reason. In fact, I even had a bigger reason, because I wanted to do more for my family. And so that's a very motivating reason. And so I dug deep and I worked as hard as I could, and I was as friendly as I could possibly be, and I put myself out there as much as I possibly could. And in that 1 year, I was able to triple my income. And that's something, I had never done that before in my life. That was a first for me. And that was all derived because I actually found, for the first time in my life, I found reasons that were bigger than myself. And those reasons, I was able to attach those and associate those to the behaviors which were required to increase my resourcefulness in such a way that it drove me to work harder and produce more results than I ever had in my entire life. And through that, I was able to get recognized and expand myself professionally, and I tripled my income in 1 year. And I want to talk about, there's a quote from Nietzsche, a famous quote from Nietzsche, which often gets quoted in this same kind of context. And I don't remember it exactly, but I remember the general gist, and I believe it's something like, a person who has a why can bear almost anyhow. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is if you watch my last couple of videos, I've been talking about how we build subconscious belief structures down in our subconscious. And those belief structures produce our behaviors and actions through our will. They push up through the ground of our conscious mind, and then we produce thoughts and behaviors based on those subconscious beliefs. And 2 videos ago, I explained to you how you can question your subconscious beliefs by asking yourself the why question and digging down and finding those beliefs. And then in the last video, I talked about using affirmations to recast and replant new subconscious beliefs down in your subconscious, or new beliefs down in your subconscious. And this is all based really on the topic of why. The why question. Why is it that you do the things you do? Because we all have reasons, even if those reasons, like I said, even if they're subconscious. Some of our belief structures are subconscious. So if your belief structures are subconscious and they're hid down there and you haven't seen them yet, you haven't explored them yet, by going down there and checking out why, just like I said, the question to ask yourself is, why is it that I do what I do? Why is that? And if you ask yourself that question, you'll begin to get responses back from that subconscious. You know, let's say you really wanted to get something done today, but you just procrastinated it. And so what you do is you look yourself in the mirror, or you just sit down with yourself and you say to yourself, why is it that whenever I have to get the laundry done, why is it that I always procrastinate that chore? And you might say to yourself, well, it's boring. I don't like it. It's not enjoyable, right? And so that's a subconscious belief. That's the belief down there that is in your subconscious that you buried at some point. Maybe when you were a kid, your parents made you do the laundry, and it always got in the way of talking to your friends on the phone or playing video games with your friends or whatever the case was. And so you built this framework or this conditioning around doing laundry that says, it takes up my time, my free time, and I don't want to give up my free time to a boring chore. And so now you have this old conditioning around doing the laundry. But maybe when you're doing the laundry, maybe you watch a movie with your kids, or you put your friend on speakerphone and talk to them while you're doing it. And through that, you can recast doing the laundry into something enjoyable, something that you really actually love to do. And so when it comes up, it's like, oh, well, now this is when I talk to mom on the phone. Whenever I do my laundry, I talk to mom on the phone, and me and mom get to catch up, and then I feel better about life. And so you can recondition. Once you've asked the why question about certain behaviors you're doing, you can use affirmations to recast those beliefs down there and recondition them, or you can associate them to something better, like talking to mom on the phone whenever you do your laundry. And that will help you to overcome and recast or destroy and rebuild new belief structures over that old conditioning. And again, the why question is related to your reasons for doing something. Your reason for not wanting to do laundry was because you had associated it with, it takes up my free time. So that's the reason that you had. And so if you can change that reasoning to, well, if I don't do my laundry, I'm going to be dirty. or it's going to pile up in my room and then my room is dirty. And then I feel less comfortable in my room and less relaxed. And so you can rebuild your reasons and come up with new reasons for getting the things done you need to do that will help you push into doing those things for the right reasons. And I know laundry is kind of a trite example, but it's something everybody can relate to. And this same thing works with just about everything. Another quote, there's a famous quote from Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, which that's a really highly quoted book. It's a great book. It's really, really worth reading. It's about a guy who survived through the Holocaust. And one of the ways he was able to survive was he essentially convinced himself that there was a reason for him to be alive. There was a meaning in life and a meaning to what was happening to him, a greater meaning, a divine meaning. And he almost cast it as a game. It was a game of survival, a test that he had to get through. And so his reasoning behind that is something to the effect of, this is a divine plan, and I have to survive through this. And so he was able to go through that harrowing time of the Holocaust and survive with this reason, by having this great reason. And so a really great reason for doing something, kind of like my reason, I needed more resources for my family. And I associated that to all of the behaviors which I needed to produce in order to increase my resourcefulness. And I was able to triple my income in 1 year. And so you can associate you can recast your reasons, and then you can associate those new reasons to whatever behaviors it is that you need to produce in order to expand yourself into the territory that you're trying to get to. And it will give you the drive, the motivation. If you just write something down, if you just write on a piece of paper, I want to get this thing done, or this is my goal. Okay, now you just have a piece of paper that says a goal on it, and that will help you to focus, to remind yourself, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is my goal. But it won't necessarily give you the oomph or the drive to push you into getting that goal done. You might just put this paper off to the side and say, well, I can work on the goal tomorrow. Well, I can work on it next week. I'll have some time later. But if you have a stronger reason for why you're doing it, it'll bring you back, and it'll drive you instead of it'll push and pull you into working on that behavior sooner, and working on the behaviors that are required to get to that goal sooner. So reasons they're like the fuel. They're sort of an unconscious fuel, or even a conscious fuel, that drives behavior forward towards goals that you've set. And it'll knock down barriers. Like maybe you really don't like working on your resume, but if you could just work on your resume a little more, you could move up in the company you're in, or expand yourself into a new career path. And that could expand your resourcefulness, which would Bring more resources to you so you can provide more to the people around you. If you could just knock down that one wall of, I hate working on my resume. And the way to knock that wall down is to give yourself a big enough reason. My reason is, I need more resources for my family. And that's a big reason. And so when it comes time to sit down and work on that resume, instead of turning away and going back and watching Netflix or going out with a friend or whatever, playing a video game, whatever it is you're going to do to procrastinate and not get that behavior done, you're going to blow through it. You're going to have all this fuel, this fire that comes up from that reason that you've built down here with your belief structures. That's going to say, no, right now I have to work on this thing. This is what I need to do in order to expand myself, to give more. Because I want to have more resources for the people around me. So your reasons are fuel. They're a fuel which drive your behaviors forward from your unconscious belief structures. And see, reasons are almost like, your belief structures are like an unconscious thing that happens down there that you essentially, you kind of go and look at and you mine those and you work on them and you rebuild them. And the reasons are conscious. They're conscious structures which you build in order to push forward the right kinds of behaviors and overcome old bad beliefs which you've had. And if you want to, if you want to figure out what some of your reasons are, you can sit down with a piece of paper, write down a couple goals, write down, 1, 2, 3 goals, 3 goals in your life. And by goals, I mean, what's something that you really want to do? I want to make an app. I want my app to be like this. I want to have I want this new cool car. I want this much money in my bank account. I want to run this many miles every day or once a week. I want to lose this much weight. That's a goal. And then every goal, between you and every goal, is a set of behaviors or tasks which must be done, habits which must be done in order to move you towards, step by step, completing that goal. And you're going to have resistance at each one of those. And that resistance is related to belief structures. Well, I want to run 3 miles a day, but I hate getting up early. And if I don't get up early, then I won't be able to, do it before work. And then if I go to work, then I'll be tired after work. And, you have all these belief structures about the way your life works and the time you have and all these things that are going to try to build resistance between you and your goal. But if you've really, you've really put some weight on and you really want to start running, or your lung capacity has really fallen because you haven't been exercising enough and you just feel out of breath, or whatever the reason is that you want to run those 3 miles. So you need to give yourself a strong reason. Well, I want to live longer for my family. Because if you have a weak reason, when you hit one of these walls, I have to get up early so I can do it before work. You're going to hit that wall and you're going to hit the snooze button. You're going to go right back to bed. But if you want to break through that wall, you got to give yourself a stronger reason on this side. I have to do this. It's a must. And the reason is because if I don't lose this weight, if I don't work on my exercise, I'm going to not be able to pick up my kids. I won't be able to carry my wife across the threshold of our new home. I won't have the energy and the vitality to pursue my other goals. And so you build these reasons up on this side that will push you through the blockers which pop up from your old behavioral structures, your old belief structures down in the subconscious, your previous conditioning. And so reasons, again, they're like a fuel which can push you through blocks in your behavior, or pull you through blocks in your behavior to get you to do the tasks which you need to do in order to reach your goals. So a person that has a good enough why can endure almost any how. So finding out about your reasons, write down a couple goals. And then along with that goal, write down what, and ask yourself the subconscious question, why? Why do I want to accomplish this goal? And you'll get answers back. You will get answers back from the subconscious. Why do I need to accomplish this goal? And then you'll have some understanding of what your previous underlying reasons are. And then you can ask yourself, if I haven't completed this goal yet, are my reasons strong enough? How can I rewrite these reasons in order to complete this goal, to push myself or pull myself to complete this goal? And, rewrite your reasons. Take the reason, give it to ChatGPT, say, can you rewrite this in a stronger frame for me? And then when it gives you a sentence back, repeat that sentence to yourself. That stronger reasoning sentence. Repeat it to yourself so that it goes down into your subconscious, like I was talking about with affirmations last week. Repeat that reason into yourself, and it will go down into your subconscious, and it'll start to plant like a seed, and then it will start to push up into your behaviors. And it'll push your behaviors forward in the direction that you want, towards that goal, rather than allowing your belief structures to be an impediment, your old conditioning to be an impediment and block you when you try to work towards your goal. I hope this made sense. And give me some examples. If you've got examples down in the comments about what were your reasons for doing something. Here's my cat. This is my cat, Sissy. This is one of my reasons. Just one of my little reasons. She's a sweetie. What are your reasons for getting things done? What are some reasons you need to work on? Are some of your reasons too weak? They're not strong enough, and they're not helping you accomplish the things that you want to accomplish? What are your thoughts on reasons behind your behavior? If you got any thoughts, leave them for me. I hope you enjoyed this. Come back again. I'm going to keep talking about this same sort of string of topics, it's almost like neuro-linguistic programming of reprogramming your subconscious mind and your conditioning in order to get more out of yourself and feel better about yourself. And not just because everybody needs to expand and grow and, like this sort of philosophy of the cancer cell of growth and all. No. Because we should want to expand and grow to help our community, to be better community members, to be healthier, stronger, more interesting, more helpful, kinder. And to do that, you're gonna have to grow as a person. So look at your reasons. Are your reasons strong enough? And then get yourself some really strong reasons and see if you can get those goals done. I believe in you. I believe in you. God bless you. Come back again.